Hey everybody, it's your friend Jason Pound here answering the top questions asked by home buyers in today's real estate market. The question we're tackling today, what's the top mistake veterans make when buying a house during their PCS process? The short answer, they're not thinking about the next house. They're only thinking about their current situation. That's the top mistake, and it costs big money. As usual, however, let me over-explain. It's important that you realize in Oklahoma, let's find a non-glare angle here. In Oklahoma, you typically need 5 to 7 years to break even on the purchase of a house, typically. The reason behind that is there are closing costs associated with liquidating any asset. If you're going to sell gold, there's a liquidation cost. If you're going to buy and sell stocks, there's a liquidation cost. If you're going to buy and sell Pokemon cards, there's liquidation cost. The liquidation cost for selling a property are typically around 6 to 7% if everything goes perfectly. So to keep the math easy for poor old Jason here, if you're selling a $100,000 house, that means around $6,000 to $7,000 is going to be coming out of your walkaway check. So you're not going to get the full proceeds from selling your house. And you need to account for that. And the reason we say 5 to 7 years in Oklahoma is typically it takes about 5 years to break even on an existing house and about 7 years to break even on a brand new build. If you are aware of that in the state of Oklahoma, it should cause you concern if you see folks in the military who know that they are going to have to move in the next 2 to 3 years and they are buying a house, which is very common. In fact, it's a wealth building strategy. There are many folks in the service using their VA benefit every 2 to 3 years, buying a new house and renting out the old house. However, let's not get sidetracked yet. If you know the normal break even is 5 to 7 years, and your typical military family is probably going to be stationed for anywhere from 2 to 3 years, depending on their position, can be shorter, can be longer. Well, now you can see why these three issues come into play, because they're not thinking about their next house. First of all, military individuals have a shorter timeline than your typical citizen. And that timeline is completely out of their control. They can be ordered from Oklahoma to Hawaii, and they can go house shop and they can find a house and they can get under contract. And the day before closing, they can get brand new orders saying, nope, we changed our mind, you're going to Idaho. It's whatever Uncle Sam needs is what our military personnel do at the drop of a hat during PCS time. So they have much shorter timelines. Number two, many of them have the mistaken knowledge in their head that they do not want to be landlords. The problem is if it takes you 5 years to break even and you're buying a house and you're only going to be in it for 3 years, you're going to lose 2 years of equity building. So your only option is to sell and take a loss, or to keep the house and be a landlord. So it is very important that folks who are PCSing in much shorter timelines become comfortable with the idea of being a landlord. I had a client recently, after going over the math with them, they decided to become a landlord. If they were to sell right now, they would have to bring $30,000 to the closing table to get out of the house. They were upside down. Yet if they rent it, they would be losing $200 a month because the market rent was not enough to pay taxes, insurance, principal, and interest on the loan. The question then became, did we want to lose $30,000 all up front, or did we want to slowly lose $200 a month? And if you do the math, as rents go up 2% a year, you can afford to lose $200 a month. And very rapidly, you're going to be catching yourself back to break even. And then in possibly 3 to 4 years, you're actually going to be making a profit. And then once you're making a profit, do you still want to sell that piggy bank that's spitting out cash? Or do you actually want to keep it? And that's what leads us to the third thing is because our military veterans have shorter timelines, and more than likely they're going to have to be a landlord unless we're in an increasing market. The third thing is many are not thinking long-term enough. They are thinking short-term. I have my duty to fulfill, and I want my family in a safe neighborhood. I want them in a safe school. I want a reasonable commute. We want some fast internet. They have all of these checklist items that they want, and they're willing to do what it takes to get their family taken care of, often sacrificing the long term for the short term. And so what I mean by thinking about the long term is actually living beneath your means. If your military housing allowance actually allows you to go out and purchase a $500,000 property, maybe you shouldn't think about purchasing a $500,000 property. Maybe you should think about purchasing a $300,000 to $375,000 property. That way in 2 to 3 years when you move, you actually have a higher likelihood of being able to rent that property out at profit. So when we're thinking long term, we're not just thinking about getting our family taken care of right now. We're actually thinking about the next 2 to 3 houses and planning out wealth accumulation strategies, all built inside of the PCS process. My name is Jason Pound with Jericho Pound Realty Group, Keller Williams Mullenix in Norman. We service the entire Oklahoma City metro area with hyper-local expertise in South Oklahoma City, more in Norman. We love our veteran community and we're here to serve you guys. In the meantime, peace out. Have a great life.